Hello and welcome to another professional development from the instructional technology team. Today we're going to be covering student interaction apps, Kahoot, Socrative and Plickers. One thing to be sure to do is to get the hello and welcome to another professional development. Hang on everybody, I'm sorry I have muted something. It's my first time up here, so I get to be a rookie today. Okay, what we're going to be doing today is covering student interactive action apps, Kahoot, Socrative and Plickers. You can get a copy of the slideshow if you need it for the slides at the address up there. And let's go ahead and get moving along. First thing we're going to be looking at today is Kahoot. Here's the address for it. Also, if you want to follow along later, this is the student address. This will be used, and I'll show you how it works. Let's go ahead and start with this. And first thing you're going to need to do if you want to follow along is sign up for free. You really don't need to today if you don't want to. These are just going to be a quick walkthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. As you tell by the address on this, I have had this one for a while. And once you get in, this is what you will see. Kahoot is a really nifty student interaction app. Very simple to use. Let's go ahead and get started by looking at what we have here. Across the top, you have the new Kahoot, which is the page we're on. This allows you to come through, make quizzes, discussions, and surveys. You have My Kahoots, Public Kahoots, the FAQs, support. Over here on the right-hand side, you will see how many Kahoot stats you have and anything that's recent. But the first thing let's go ahead and do is let's look at learning how to create a Kahoot. We're going to start with a quiz. First thing you're going to need to do is come up with it. Let's do one on President's Day. And let's go ahead and start with just a question. As you can see, when you go in, you have a line to create your questions. You'll see here at the end at 95, this means that it will hold up to 95 characters. Right here, points question. You can either have this assigned for points or no points. Time left. There's a timer on this. You can set it for as little as 5 seconds or 120 seconds for them to see the question before it moves on. Down here you have where you would put your answers in. Right here you can take away answers or you can add answers. Now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add a question. Come down here, put in some answers. Choose your correct one. Now one thing is if you're making a question that does have more than one correct answer, you can actually go ahead and mark it. But in this case we only have one. And we're going to move on to the next question. Now when we start doing this part on the Kahoot, it's really easy. We're going to look at these options. You can insert images and you can insert videos. First thing we're going to look at is how to insert an image. Just click on Choose File. And in this case, I need to go out and get a file. I have to move it over from my Google Drive, so if you'll bear with me. Okay. We'll move this. Right here on my desktop where it's easy to get to. Need to unzip the package. And there we go. Let's go back. Oops, sorry. And we'll go out and choose the file. Ask a simple question, who is this? Go ahead and take the last one away, choose their correct, and that's all you need to do to add a question. And one thing, if you want to duplicate a question in style, you can click right here on duplicate. It will automatically duplicate that question. So if you have a question come up and you want to use the same picture or the same text and just change your answers around, you can. Or in this case, I'm going to take and just change the picture. And I'll change it to Abe Lincoln. And we'll add one more question. As you can see, it's really easy to go through and do this. Question number 4. We're going to go ahead and do a video. And where we're going to do a video, switch it over. You'll see it has an ID. What it uses is YouTube videos, so I need to go to YouTube. I'm going to go to my channel and use this video. Go ahead and open it. Now, one of the nice things you will notice, we go back and look at this question, it has a start at and an end at. What this allows you to do is go in and select where you want the video to start at. A lot of times when we use video, we don't want to use more than maybe a minute to 5 minutes of time out of it. So we use a small segment to get a point across for a question. So in this case, I want to go look at my video. I've already previewed it. I think it was around 64. I want to make sure. $54. Check. Okay. So I'll come back. Add my question. George Washington was, and I know that y'all didn't hear the sound on that. That's okay. He was talking about George Washington being the father of our country. So I'll put in the time. George Washington, or the question, George Washington was called blank. Then time for 54, and the segment would run about 10 seconds. We'd add 10 seconds onto it for it to end at 64. Come down here, put in our answers. And let's go ahead and take off the last one. Choose our correct one. And when we move on, it will add the video to this. But there's one thing we have to really do before that, but I left out, and it's very important, is you've got to get the address. The address in. And it's ready to go. Let's go ahead, we'll save and continue. Put our 4 questions in. At this point, you can reorder them by drag and dropping your questions. Or leave them as they are and move along. You have one last chance, you'll see to edit the name. Click Save and Continue. Right here, you can add descriptors. Descriptor is important because one of the things that's really interesting about this is that you need to take and add descriptors because you can share all these files. One of the nice things that we'll get into after this is showing how Kahoot is shared out publicly or privately. You can see right here that you have a choice between private and public. Today we're going to start off just being private. You want to select your audience type. This is for school. But you will also see that you have different choices. In this case, it could be a training event too, or it could be just an event or social, so whatever you need it to be. If you're presenting at a conference, you probably want to use something like training or event. If you're doing a PD like we are, it'd be training. If you're working in your classroom, you'd want to use school. It just depends on what you're going to need it for. You can set the difficulty level, beginner, intermediate, advanced. I'm just going to leave it intermediate. Give a description. Any tags you want to for the meta tagging. Presidents, Washington, Lincoln, and anything else that you can think of that you might need to add. What this does is it makes it more easily searchable by your colleagues. If you after that, you click on Save and Continue. Now you're given a chance to add some art. I'm going to go ahead and add some art to this for my cover image. And I'm going to click Done. At this point, you can play it, which is where students would go to Kahoot It Now, which I gave you the link. They can reach this through on a computer. They can reach it through any mobile device. So it doesn't limit you on your options. But in this case, I'm going to show it to you through Preview. This way you can see what it would look like for both you and for your students. You'll see here that when the test would come up, you're given options: display game pen throughout, no, show minimized, intro instructions, no or yes. It's going to depend on what you want to do, and play music. I'm going to go ahead and turn the music off. A lot of students that I've seen using this, or teachers using this with students, the kids like, or students like the music, gives it a very game show feel. But we're just going ahead and stay right here, and I'm going to click on Launch, and ready to join. It tells you to get your device. It will give you the code. Students will just come over. They'll enter this, whatever device they're using. Make sure that you enter the right code, or it won't connect, and enter. Students will be asked to give a nickname. I would ask them to do their real name. You could ask them to put their whole name. One of the things that this will do at the end of it is it will create a spreadsheet for you. When you're ready, go ahead and click on Start. And here it goes. When questions come up, the timer will start going. Tell you how many points are going. And so the first question up, timer ticks down. So if you want to, you can skip it. Students will come over here on their device. They will pick the correct answer from the signs. They're there, or I should say symbols. You have the star, diamond, circle. Time was up, February. Oh well, didn't get it, can move on. Tell you the score. If you have a whole group of students, it's going to show everybody's score at the end of it. Who is this? Question. It loads. See the picture. And the faster the student answers, the more points they score. Another question. We did the duplicate. And the last one will be the video. So as you can see, it will go through, it will show the video. After it's through, it will start the timer. Students come through, they can answer. Teacher clicks next, and end. It'll show the points collected, it'll show the top winner, show correct results, incorrects of everybody that was involved. So if you had 10 students in here, it would show how many of them got the correct answer. On that, how many had incorrect. It wouldn't do it by names, and it will show the total points scored for each student. At the end of it, feedback and results, students have a chance to rate what you've done. They can rate it from 1 to 5. I'll go ahead and rate myself a 3. Did you learn anything? Yes or no? You recommend it? Yes. And to continue, how do you feel? These results will show for the teacher, and you'll know, and you'll have feedback on what the students did. Final results. Just one student here. Now let's go ahead and go back. You've seen, had a quick look at this. I'm going to close it and bring you back to here. Now, when you're done, if you went through it after looking at it and you saw there was something wrong, you can come back and click on Edit. You can go back in, and you can change things around. Let's say that we did not like the third question we asked. We can click on number 3. We can come through and we can delete that question. That will remove it. It automatically will save it. That moment. Move on. The saving continues. It's the only change we wanted. Save and continue again. We don't want to change anything here, so save and continue. And done. Now it's ready to share. You have the option on anything that you create to share it out or not. Now when we look at sharing it out, you can share out to your colleagues by putting in their name if they are in this. If they aren't, then you can't, or you can go back and make it public. Now, I'm going to take and do something. If I remember, Ms. Swan uses this. I think that was the name she used. I click share. And it will have gone to hers. Say, oops. Select at least one person to share with. It didn't take Stacy. She's probably using a different name. So that's how it would work, and you wouldn't have that message. Now, one of the things about Kahoot is looking over here in public Kahoots. Inside of public Kahoots, you can search and find a test for just about anything. One of the great things about this is looking in here and say you need something on Abe Lincoln. And all of a sudden, all these will appear. This has a reference to it, spelling quiz on Abraham Lincoln at last, Abe Lincoln. If you want to check them out and see what they look like, you can click on play. It'll go ahead and bring it up. You can go through and play it with the students. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and X out for time. And that's the simplest part of it, is anything that you want to do is you can go through and search it. It may already be made. You can search on this to the audiences. And you can also look through these. Now, if we move back over here real quick, you saw that we also have discussions and surveys. Discussions, real quickly, discussions are nothing but the same thing as the quiz, except when it collects the data, it doesn't keep it. Same thing with surveys. Surveys lets you create questions the same way, and it just collects the data in a survey format. When you get to look at the spreadsheets from it, it's all the same. Now, speaking of spreadsheets and downloading, you have two options. My recent results, you look over here on the right, you will see the recent things that we've done. We just did this. It's right there. You can either click on this and download the results straight to your computer, or you can download these to your Google Drive. The option is yours, whichever you want to save it on. Personal preference, I would save it in my Google Drive so that I have it anywhere I go. But you will also notice out here on the far right a ghost. What this does is creates ghost mode, where you can go back, launch the same test with all the same scores, or I shouldn't say test, but activity or Kahoot, and students can compete against themselves to better their previous scores. You can also have another class come in and they can play this head-to-head. One class is taking it. You can have another class come in, take it, and their answers are compared to the other to see who wins. Kahoot really is interesting. We had the chance 2 years ago to take part in what at that time was considered the world's largest Kahoot for the Guinness Book of World Records at a conference. And we had over 2,000 and some odd people taking a Kahoot at one time. So that tells you how large a Kahoot can go. So that's all there is to this. It's very easy to use. If you have any questions with it, please contact your ITRT and we'll come in and sit down with you. I know I'm moving fast, but we're trying to cover 3 different ones in 1 hour. Okay, the next thing we are going to look at, Socrative. When you go to Socrative, the address is right here. It's https ://b-socrative.socrative.com. If you'll hang on for a second, get a little dried out, and get a drink there. Okay, you'll see 2 options come up. Student and teacher, you're going to go in and you're going to get a free account first thing. When you get your free account, it's really easy to set up. Doesn't take long. Or, the easiest thing in the world, for Wise County teachers is if you have your Google Plus, go ahead and click sign in on Google Plus and it'll take you there. In this case, I happen to have my account before we went over. And when you go in, you'll see this. You'll come in at your dashboard. You'll see your room number. This is important. Your room number will always be with you, will always be the same. This is where your students will go whenever they come to this to take any of the activities that you put together. First thing we want to look at here is start a quiz. Well, if we click on start a quiz, I'll be honest, nothing is going to happen off the get-go unless you already have something in there. So I'm actually going to go back to manage quizzes and I want to create a quiz. Creating quizzes in these are very easy. You get to choose multiple choice, true, false, or short answer. I'm going to start off, I'm going to make the first one true and false. You can add an explanation, and after you've added it, you can save. I'm going to add another question, time multiple choice. What 3 student interactive apps are we looking at today? Response systems. Choose your correct answers. You can have more than one. Add an explanation if you want to. You can add for more answers. Save and move along. And on the short answer, what this would allow is for students to write a short essay, maybe short answers to questions, whatever you need. So let's go ahead and put in correct answer is optional since this is just asking them a question. And after you're done, come to the top, save and exit. But there's one thing left out. Name your quiz. Now we can save and exit. And when you look inside your dashboard at things, you will find it there. I'll go back to manage quizzes for just a moment. You have create quiz. You can also import quizzes. I'm going to be honest, you can import them from another teacher if they give you the SOC number and share it to you, or you can download this template. This template allows you to go in and create a test and upload it. I find it easier just to go through and create them online using this template. You have to go through and be very careful about using the lines that come down. Let's take a look at the template real quick so you can see. As you can see, you go through, you simply follow the instructions. Please fill in the different areas. Following those steps, and that is all you would have to do. Just come through, question type, question, put your answers in, and that's it. Like I said, it's actually easier in the long run just to enter it online. This, however, would be handy if you know you're going to be at home and you don't have a Wi-Fi connection and you have Excel at home, then you can do this. You may be able to use it using Google Sheets at home. I'm not sure how it would do that or work with that. Sometimes some of your formatting is a little different. Be something to play with. But it would be an option. Then close this. Go back to Manage Quizzes. You can also click on My Quizzes. You'll see everything that you've created. That way you can go in you can edit anything you've previously worked on. As you can see, say I don't like this one. I want to get rid of that one. Just click on the X, move on down, check everything else out, come back, save and exit. So it's really easy to come in and edit anything you've already got existing. Staying back under the same one, reports, anything that you've given, you can come through, click on, and see what the reports are. You can come through and see how your report's going to look. Which report would you like? Would you like the whole class as an Excel? Would you like an individual student PDF? Or would you like question-specific PDF? You can even choose all three if you want to get them. You can choose to either have it by email, download it, or once you come in and you set this up and you give them your Google Drive address, you can save it to your Google Drive. All right. After you've looked at that, you can come back and you can give a quiz. All right, start a quiz. Simply click on Start a Quiz. Come through, pick a test, click on Start, and students that are out there can go through and take the test. Now also what you have to do is go back to the same page, click on this, click on the student, use this code that you give them for your room number, enter that, and then they would see those questions, be able to answer them. There is also an app that can be downloaded that students could use on any Android or Apple device. So if you have Android tablets in your room, if your students have Android phones or iPhones or iPads, they can take it on this, or they can take it on the computer. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Now we've taken a look at this and saw how the reports come on it. There's one more thing, or three more things we can look at. There's quick questions. What that allows you to do is ask quick multiple choice, true and false, or short answer questions. You just click on which one you want to ask. I already have one active, so I would have to go back and end the one I had active. And when you disable it, you can go through and do that. Refresh. Live results, and it'll be ended. But that's all you have to do with any of these. You look at the space race, it's the same way. All you have to do is click on it, bring it up, and it makes rocket ships go across the screen the faster the teams answer. You can have an exit ticket, which you ask the kids questions, they give you the answers as they go, and that's it. They're all the same. Again, I know this is moving fast, but like I said, we're fitting 3 of these in an hour. Once you're done with this, always be sure to log out. Last but not least is Plickers. Go ahead and sign in. One thing that's very important with Plickers is there is a teacher app that you have to use this. It's available for Android and for Apple. Just go to the app stores and download it. Okay. Plickers works a little bit different than the other two. Both of those were online. Well, this is kind of online and hybrid at the same time. This works off of cards. What you start out doing is you will go in and you will go to cards, and you're going to download a set of classroom cards. They have the standard, expanded, large format, large cards, and large cards expanded. Tells you what they're ideal for. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the large font so it'll be easier to see on here. Download it. And there it is. Each one of these would be cut in half and would be a card. Each card has a number. This would be card 1, as you can see by numbers in each corner, card 2, card 3, etc. You will also notice that around each edge of this card is an A, B, C, and D. This would be for your multiple choice questions. Now you wonder why it has this and why you need these. Well, the app I was mentioning allows a teacher to go out and scan these cards and the kids hold them up in the classroom. Now we are unable to show this in the format that we're using right now. So what we are going to do is, if you will look in the showcase, there are some things I put in there to help you out. There's 2 videos, and they're for Plickers, and then there's a Dropbox in there from Socrative that has a lot of training materials. If you will go there and click on the first video, it's going to give you the classroom view, and then I'm going to show you how this actually works from the teacher side. So go ahead, first watch the first video and then the second one, and please chime in after you've watched these and let us know so that we can go ahead and move on. Okay. That should have been plenty of time to watch both of those. Now that you've seen how it's used in the classroom, you can wonder, well, how do you go through, how do you create questions, how do you do all that? Well, as you saw, they were using the phone in both of those, and they were scanning everybody's cards. The questions are entered in here. You start in My Library. You have folders that you can create. Simply come in, create a folder, and put your questions in. In this case, I'm working inside of My Library. Click on New Question. Did you see how Plickers worked? Yes. No. I am confused. Choose what's correct. You can always have more than one. Like on the others, get rid of questions. Save and create another one. We'll give us another multiple choice, or we can do true and false. As you can see, very simple questions to go through and create. And I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that one. It will show up here. Now, here's one of the things is you can move these to a folder. I already have some folders. I put demo of SIA. Well, that's for what session is. See, I've already got stuff in it, but I'm going to go back to my library, and I am going to move that question, add it to a folder, tell it to move. So if you're used to working in your Google Drive and moving folders around, it works the same way. Now, one of the nice things with this is once you have all your questions in there and you decide to go ahead and do this, you'd have to go from the teacher's device that you'd have in your hand, which would be your cell phone or tablet. You bring up the board, you bring up the questions, and you start it. So as you saw, it's easy to create the questions here. You can also create the questions on your mobile device. When you use this, you come in, you can look at reports and get the reports for these if there were any tests taken. You can look at your classes. Now, if you want to create a class, simply you click on that. I've already created this one. All you do is add students. To add a student, just put their name in. Hit enter. And it will go through and it'll tell you how many cards that you've used. Cards 1, 2, and 3 that are assigned. So that's one thing this does is assign the cards as you go. This is the card that student will use forever in the classroom when you're using this. And you can print this roster out, or you can add to the add a roster to it. If there's already another roster you want to move, you can do that. You can also sort your students by their first and last names. If you need to go through and look. And once you're done, you can just click out and go somewhere else. By clicking classes again, it takes you back out. There's add a new class. Works the same as the others. So there's nothing any different than what we've already covered. All right. Live view just shows what would be going on when the students are doing this, and you'd have the feedback coming in that you're scanning. So that's all we can really show with this. I really want to emphasize this one. If you don't have access to one day to using Chromebooks in your classroom, you don't have access to any mobile devices at all in your classroom, you can use this, and all you have to do is enter your stuff in here, pass out the cards that are assigned to the students, make sure you match the numbers, and the students will hold the cards up using A, B, C, or D on there. That will tell them the direction they're holding up for the answer. Scan it, and it records the answers. If this seemed rushed, I'll be honest, this was rushed. I think that fitting 3 of these into one may have been a little bit of overkill by us trying to fit it all in. But thank you for viewing. Be sure to fill out the survey at the end, and have a great evening.